Hey sports fans, it's Sega time. Get ready for the most hard-hitting sports action ever with Sega Genesis. You've got Joe Montana Sports Talk Football and Sports Talk Baseball, David Robinson Basketball, and the ultimate in Grand Prix racing. First, let's hit the field with Joe Montana 2 Sports Talk Football, the first sports video game with an ongoing play-by-play announcer's voice. The announcer covers every aspect of the game, every offensive and defensive play. With over 200 phrases, he never runs out of things to say. Listen up.
The kicking team comes on. San Francisco set to receive. It's a good kick.
And don't miss the zoom-in view of the action.
Across the 30.
More than 50 plays, rain and snow.
Back to throw. Out to the right. He has it to the 30. 20, 10. Nice job. 37 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Looking to Los Angeles. Los Angeles lined up. Put. Back to pass. Quick out. Intercepted at the 22. Into the end zone.
The non-stop announcer's voice of Sports Talk is back, with Sports Talk Baseball coming this spring. He covers everything from the top of the first inning to the bottom of the ninth. Plus, there's more than 500 pro players and their 1991 stats.
268. Here it comes. Heads for home. Line drive to short and makes the catch. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike one. The pitch. Heads for home. Ground ball to second. It drops in. He drops it. Picks it up. Scores. A big error for 39. 229. Here it comes. Ground ball to second. Throw up to second. Got him. On to first platoon. He's safe. He delivers.
Sports Talk Baseball. Everything else is just Bush League.
Throw up to second. He's safe.
Hit the boards with David Robinson Supreme Court coming this spring. With 24 different slams and shots, you'll beat the pros at their own game. Every move, pass, and pump fake is digitized from real basketball action and speed you can't believe. Go 5-on-5 or 3-on-3. From the skyhook slam to the pile driver, David Robinson definitely comes to play. Super Monaco Grand Prix gives you all the piston-screaming, tire-burning action of a real Grand Prix race. Downshift, corner hard. This is going to take all the nerve you've got. Sega Game Gear, the hot, color-portable video game system that puts great sports action right in the palm of your hand. Game Gear's got great sound and awesome full-color graphics. With the optional TV tuner, you can transform your Game Gear into a color television. After playing a few games, catch one on TV. First, and definitely a 10 on Game Gear, is Joe Montana Football. Hit the field with 28 pro teams. Recreate the great matchups. Call any one of the 26 plays in the playbook or go with Joe's pick. March up the field, mixing up your plays, firing bullets across the middle. It's real gridiron action you can take anywhere. Go head-to-head with the computer or get a gear-to-gear cable and challenge a friend. With Clutch Hitter, you battle for the pennant with Major League players. Pick any team and slug it out with the computer, or take on a friend using the gear-to-gear cable. You'll need quick reflexes and real baseball strategy to win. When you're in the batter's box, you'll really need to hang tough to be the clutch hitter. With world-class leaderboard golf, you'll always have a tee time on the world's best courses. Play the Doral Country Club, Scotland's St. Andrews, Cypress Creek.
No doubt about it, that's deep in the sand trap.
Or take on the custom-designed Gauntlet Country Club.
Ooh, can't be too happy about that one.
Invite a few friends and make it a foursome. Hey, sports fans, get the most hard-hitting sports. Get Sega Sports.
Calvin Schiraldi, the former Met, coming in to try and stifle the Mets. Bottom of the seventh inning, it's going to be Knight, Dykstra, and Santana. High drive into deep left center, back goes Rice. This one is gone!
Playing hard is the sign of a professional. But making the play when it matters most is the mark of a champion.
In the Bill Walton Show here in St. Louis tonight, and there he is. UCLA has done it. They said it couldn't be done. They've won 7 in a row and 9 out of 10.
We're watching an incredible moment in the history of motorsport. Here is a man winning the most difficult, the most prestigious stock car race there is.
The sort of strategy he pulled here is like sinking about a 90-foot putt to win the US Open by 1 hole.
Some call it grace under pressure. Others call it the winning edge.
Williams is back, lobs it into the end zone. He's got Didier. Touchdown! Holy cow! It's 34 points in this quarter.
It's hard to define, rare to possess, easy to identify.
Here comes the 20-year-old rookie down the middle. Dawkins went to him and scored and sent him to the line. There it is. It's over, and the most valuable player is Magic Johnson.
It's the exquisite power that enables a man to seize a moment, a championship moment, and make it his forever. The year was 1980, and change was on the horizon. It was a time for new heroes, for a changing of the guard. And in the NBA, that new guard was about to change everything. But first, the game's 2 preeminent stars would wage a legendary battle, frightening in its fury, breathtaking in its beauty, a battle for pride, for a place in history, and for the right to be called champion. All the pre-series hype for the 1980 NBA Finals centered around the long-awaited matchup between the Philadelphia 76ers' Julius Erving and the Los Angeles Lakers' Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But after the opening handshake, this classic confrontation became a one-man show for number 33. Jabbar was unstoppable as he unleashed the most potent offensive weapon in the history of the game.
Magic gave him the ball, just brought it to him all day. Skyhook, 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 skyhook. I went home that night, I was in the bed. Skyhook, skyhook. Scared for the skyhook.
On defense, Kareem was just as devastating as he ignited a Laker fast break that ran the Sixers right out of the LA Forum.
Nixon to the attack for Los Angeles. Magic comes to the middle. He's got a man on the right. He'll go for the layup.
Kareem's performance in Game 1 gave the Lakers a 1-0 series lead and staked his claim as the most dominant force in basketball. It was a situation that Julius Erving would not take sitting down. To fans across the country, Dr. J was basketball's most charismatic superstar, a spellbinding performer who attracted ardent admirers, even in Los Angeles.
I think the Lakers are probably the best team around, but I'm rooting for Dr. J.
I would like to see the Sixers win just for his benefit alone.
In games 2, 3, and 4, their hero did not disappoint them.
The doctor in here.
Erving put on a dazzling display of both power and artistry. Including perhaps the single most spectacular shot in playoff history.
Sixers, and they get inside. An unbelievable
We had cut him off, and there was nowhere for him to go but out of bounds. So he jumped in the air, out of bounds. And he's floating, and he spun it real high off the top of the class. My mouth was like, and I looked at Coop, he looked at me, and I said to him, I said, Coop, you think we should maybe ask him to do it again?
Dr. J carried the Sixers to 2 dramatic victories over the stunned Lakers. With the series now tied at 2 games apiece, the teams traveled back to LA for Game 5. It was a battle that would not be for the faint of heart. In the most physical contest of the series, the Lakers and Sixers crashed and banged their way to a deadlock for 3 quarters. But the game's most devastating blow had yet to be struck.
Kareem turns underneath, puts it up and scores on a finger roll. 5, but Kareem's hurt. Kareem turned an ankle. Kareem is hurt. I don't think Kareem is going to be able to go anymore right now. He's really in pain. They're going to take him right to the locker room. Kareem's going to the locker room.
The unthinkable had happened. An entire arena looked on in horror as the Lakers' dreams for a world championship seemed to vanish before their eyes. With the return of their captain unlikely, the Lakers prayed for a miracle. What they got was a precocious rookie with a little dose of magic.
Magic on the dribble. Magic on the layup with the left hand. Here comes Magic running the team. Great pass inside to Cooper with Magic Johnson.
Earvin Magic Johnson kicked the Laker fast break into high gear and valiantly held off the 76ers for the rest of the 3rd quarter. As the final period began, the Lakers' championship dreams came alive again.
Jabbar is now just returning. He will try to play despite a painful sprained ankle.
For 12 agonizing minutes, Kareem would once again shoulder the burden of the Lakers' attack, putting on one of the most courageous performances in NBA Finals history. And fittingly, with the game on the line, the Lakers would look to their leader one final time.
Lob to Kareem in behind. They got the back door on Kareem, who took a blow and made the basket and drew the foul.
Kareem's heroic effort gave the Lakers a 3-2 series lead, but the cost was devastating. His ankle badly injured, Jabbar would not travel to Philadelphia for Game 6.
When you lose that piece out of the equation, you say to yourself, how in the world can we compete with these people?
For 4.5 minutes in Game 5, Earvin Johnson had miraculously filled the void in the middle left by the Lakers' fallen center. But could this 20-year-old rookie work his magic for an entire game with a world championship at stake?
Everybody had written us off. The reporters, everybody was talking about, well, you have Kareem back in Game 7, and here we are. We haven't even played Game 6 yet. All day long, I will tell you, I didn't feel very good about that basketball game.
People did not expect them to win.
You know, everyone thought it was going to be the 7th game in Los Angeles, except Magic.
I sat in Kareem's seat on the plane, and I told the guys on the plane, and you can ask them all, don't fear, because 32 is here.
You are looking live at the sold-out crowd at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. It is Game 6, the 76ers and the Lakers.
I just love challenges that just bring something out of me.
A young man by the name of Magic Johnson is going to start at center.
He started out that basketball game like, fellas, I'm going to lead you to the promised land tonight.
Magic down the middle. Magic pumps for the layup and drew the foul.
Picking up where Kareem had left off, Magic was simply unstoppable.
We tried guard on him, we tried forward on him, we tried center on him. And if he didn't score, he set Wilkes up to score.
Magic, one half the works. A beautiful pass by the rookie.
What had been billed as a clash of NBA legends had become instead a showcase for its star of the future and a preview of the new era that he would usher in.
Every shot was a big shot. Every rebound was a big rebound. Every pass was a big pass. I think I had lived for the moment like this, and finally I'm caught in it.
Magic comes inside, dishes, wants Wilkes, beautiful pass. Is he unbelievable? Magic will come down the baseline, and Dawkins tied him up, scored, and send Magic to the line.
We played everybody conceivable against him. And here's a guy that, what was he, 20 years old?
Here comes the 20-year-old rookie down the middle. Dawkins went to him and scored and sent him to the line.
The torch had been passed. For the NBA, the future was now, and it belonged to a rookie named Magic Johnson.
There it is, it's over, and the most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The performance that Magic Johnson put on that night was truly one of the great, great performances. I wish he stayed in school another year. We would have won a championship.
That was still today my greatest game probably in the NBA, and it probably always will be.
It's been close to 7 years since Richard Petty has won a race on the NASCAR circuit. But his is still the most recognizable face in stock car racing. And in 1991, King Richard was honored for his part in the longest continuous sponsor-driver relationship in NASCAR history, 20 years.
Good luck and Godspeed today. Thank you.
The man who once won 27 races in a single season, including 10 in a row, has not lost his common touch. Racing fans are drawn to him the way they were some 17 years ago, when he invited 20,000 friends to his farm in Level Cross, North Carolina. There they help raise funds for the community, for everything from the rescue squad to the high school band.
There we go. You turn right around and sit down right there.
Oh, I'd love to sit down right here. I'd love to.
Okay.
From Martinsville to Talladega, from Bristol to Darlington, and from North Wilkesboro to Charlotte, Richard Petty has left his footprints in Victory Lane. In one stretch of 5 years, he won a staggering 92 races. Only one other NASCAR driver, David Pearson, has finished first that many times in a career. He became a bona fide American folk hero. And on July 4th, 1984, the master of his game reached a milestone that may never be matched. When the number 43 car took the checkered flag at the Firecracker 400, it marked Petty's 200th win. Appropriately, it was at Daytona, where Petty recorded his landmark victory. For it is there that he has enjoyed his greatest success.
Selur Winston Cup wins. 7-time Winston Cup champion, 7-time Daytona 500 champion, the driver of the number 43 SPP Pontiac from Randleman, North Carolina, Richard Petty.
The name Petty is synonymous with Daytona, the birthplace of NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. It was there in the 1950s that races were held on the beach. That was before a visionary named Bill France Sr. built the Daytona International Speedway. With its ultra-high bank tri-oval, it has become the world center of racing. On race day, it is not unlike any other track. But because the Daytona 500 is the centerpiece of the sport, ordinary activity takes on an added dimension of importance. never regarded as a great qualifier, Richard Petty surprised the racing world in 1991 when he earned the 3rd position in the 40-car field.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Despite his front-running spot on the starting grid, Petty was not considered a favorite to win. But he was not a favorite to win 10 years before in the 1981 Daytona 500, one of the most unpredictable races in NASCAR history. That year, the decision was made to downsize all the cars, make them narrower and shorter. It altered the aerodynamics and raised many questions as to how these cars would handle at 200 miles per hour.
A whole new animal, really. It was basically going from full-size cars, if you want to use the analogy, down to an intermediate-sized car. So there was basically a total discarding of the old black book with all of your secrets from years gone by, and everybody was starting, in some regards, as though everybody's a rookie. It was a whole new situation. You didn't know how the cars were going to work in the draft, in wind, in this situation, in that situation. So even the most hardened or grizzled veterans were, in many regards, at the same level as many of the fellows who hadn't had experience.
A lot of the cars were spinning out. They'd go out and practice. They'd spin out and turn over, and NASCAR was working with us, trying to give us as much spoiler as we possibly could use and not make the cars look like wing cars and stuff like that. And of course, Allison came out with he slipped in with a Pontiac Le Mans, which was real slick. He wasn't having no trouble, and he was by far the fastest car.
I don't think my strategy was a lot different. I felt like our car was, was our strong suit. We had selected the Pontiac Le Mans and really felt like we had an advantage because other people hadn't noticed that this model car was out there in the world, was within the rules.
He was the favorite going in. Of course, one thing about races at Daytona, the fastest car does not always win. We've seen it over the years, and it has continued up to the present day, and that accounts for the packed grandstands because there is no guarantees in motorsports. A part can break, you can run over something on the racetrack. There are a myriad of problems that can come up that will make you have to wait until the very last moment to see who is going to win.
Despite Allison's superiority, he could not shake the pack for long and felt the heat of his rivals at every turn.
He led most of the race. And most of the day, there was a 5-car draft. I guess there was Allison, Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, Richard, and Buddy Baker. And we'd run anywhere from 3rd to 5th about all day.
And there we see the leader, number 28, coming into the pit. He's going awfully slowly to me. He is running slowly coming in.
Allison led the race for 117 of 200 laps before the tide began to turn. With 30 laps to go, he turned into the pits with a simple problem, but one with disastrous implications.
Came in quickly. They're a little bit surprising. They were out of gas. The engine should have been fired up. Certainly Bobby Allison fell out because they were planning to come in another couple of laps. It was a surprise stop. They changed the two right side tires and they're back out, but it could have been a major disaster if he'd run out of gas a little bit earlier than he did.
Well, that's going to build some suspense into this one.
And Richard Petty and Dale Inman decided on their radio that they were going to roll the dice. And while others came in, make tire change and so on, Dale Inman says, Richard, come on in, a quick splash of fuel, and back out they went.
They're not changing tires. A change of pace here. They're only adding gasoline, and either way, a very quick pit stop. What strategy? We'll see how it works.
There's a lot of decisions that comes that help create victories, but they don't come every day, and it just so happened that this fell in place, and I guess we just got lucky that everybody decided to change tires with us.
A piece of pit stop strategy may be the catalyst that gives him a victory here for the 7th time in the Daytona.
Indeed, this championship moment occurred not on the racetrack, but in the pit. That's why they call it a racing team.
Turn number 2. You are watching an incredible moment in the history of motorsport. Here is a man winning the most difficult, the most prestigious stock car race there is.
The sort of strategy he pulled here is like sinking about a 90-foot putt to win the US Open by 1 hole.
Out of turn number 4, Richard Petty holding on to that lead like a hammerhead shark. Here he comes, coming down. sinking out. And is he slowing down? Is he running out of fuel?
Petty, too, had run out of gas. But not before his team took a roll of the dice, gambled, and won over a much faster car.
And what a response he is getting from the 100,000 gathered today. And he has just out-snookered them here in the 500.
The disappointment in the Bobby Allison pit would be almost more than you could stand. It must be just absolutely intense. They had this race locked up all month, and they just somehow blew it with only 20-odd laps to go.
It was one of the really big disappointments I've had in racing. The bad luck or the poor planning or whatever you want to blame it on, it happened. You know, I looked up to him as a guy that had taken a good opportunity and had done well with it.
And there is one of the great sportsmen, one of the great race drivers of our time.
You know, we run all day long, we run with them, we couldn't outrun them, they couldn't outrun us. They just outsmarted them in the pits, and that's what won the race.
For over 30 years, car number 43 has been a symbol of racing excellence. And Richard Petty's 7th Daytona 500 win became one of the very few unbreakable records. One that may be challenged, but never equaled. The 1986 World Series was an East Coast shuttle series that matched the firepower of the Boston Red Sox against the New York Mets' flair for drama. Game 1 got underway on an Arctic night in Shea, but some folks were on fire, like Boston pitcher Bruce Hurst, who looked unbeatable. The only good sign for the Mets was that Ron Darling matched Hurst, pitch for pitch. Until, that is, the 7th, when with Jim Rice on second, Rich Gedman hit a not-so-routine grounder to Tim Tuffle.
Here is Rich Gedman. Hits a ground ball right through Tuffle. Here comes Rice around third to throw by Strawberry. He's in there, and Tuffle was fooled by the bounce.
My reaction towards it was that, it was plainly my fault. I took the blame for the game. It's the first game of the series, and it was a disheartening loss because Ronnie pitched so well.
Not pitching well proved to be the Mets' downfall in Game 2. Doc Gooden got roughed up early as the Red Sox pounded out 18 hits in a 9-3 rout. With the series moving back to Boston, Red Sox fans were getting giddy and greedy. Game 3 in beautiful Fenway Park. And who better to snap the Mets from their doldrums than leadoff hitter Lenny Dykstra, who nailed one.
High drive down the right field line, hooking in the corner. It's gone!
Dykstra's 4 hits helped the Mets win 7-1. Come Game 4, it was Gary Carter's turn.
And he's hit another one. A towering smash. Rice never even moved. Curveball, and that one went over the screen.
Carter's 2 home runs led the Mets to a 6-2 win, and the series was tied at 2. Then in Game 5, the momentum wobbled back to the Red Sox, for Bruce Hurst was back in the driver's seat.
Sox win it 4-2. They now have a 3-2 advantage. We'll be back to the party after this.
On a cool October night at Shea, Game 6 featured Bob Ojeda against a well-rested Roger Clemens. Advantage, Boston.
Hey, we're ahead 3-2 with 2 games left with our best man out on the hill with 5 days rest going against their man with 3 days rest. I mean, we should win.
The only thing that goes through your mind right now at this point is to go out and try to win, and hopefully it's not over, because it'll be a long winter and it'll be a very boring winter, knowing that you was in the World Series and you had a great year and you didn't win the World Series.
After 67 long winters in Boston, Wade Boggs lit the first candle of hope.
Noisy here at Shea on Saturday night. It is a festive, highly enthusiastic crowd. And there's a hopper off the glove at third of Knight, and Santana can't pick it up, and Boggs is aboard.
The first break in this critical game had occurred. Then Jim Rice walked. Boggs moved to second. And Dwight Evans went deep.
High drive up the alley in left center field. That's trouble, heading for the wall and off the wall. Dykstra plays it. One run will score on a double by Evans, and Rice holds it third.
In the second, Marty Barrett drove home Spike Owen to give Boston a 2-0 lead. And though early on Clemens appeared strong, the Mets wore him down, fouling off 64 pitches in the game. The Mets finally broke through in the fifth as Strawberry walked and stole second. That set the stage for the emerging hero in the series, the irrepressible Ray Knight.
Hit up the middle, base hit. Here comes Strawberry, and he will score.
The Mets had done more than simply slice the lead in half. They had shown that Rocket Man was no Superman, and Mookie Wilson supplied still another piece of evidence.
Breaking ball hit into right field. Knight to second base will hold, and when Evans bobbles, he goes to third.
The night moves were just beginning for the Mets, as Danny Heap would 4-6-3 a 2-2 tie.
Ground ball hard to Barrett. They go to second for one, to first, double play. However, Knight scores to tie it up.
So it stood into the seventh, when with Roger McDowell on the mound, the fragile line between GOAT and hero was crossed on a soft bouncer by Rice.
Roller to third, Knight charging. High throw off Hernandez's glove, and over to third goes Barrett.
Knight's folly put runners at the corners, and the Red Sox played it aggressively.
Rice goes. Sinker is hit down to second. They can't get the double place, and the run is in.
But just when things were looking darkest for the Mets, the Boston rally was put to rest.
Sinker hit into the hole. Now they're going to wave Rice in. Mookie's got a chance to get him to Carter. He is out at the plate.
Surprisingly, Boston then removed its best pitcher in favor of Calvin Schiraldi.
I know the Mets were supremely confident in beating Schiraldi. They had played with him. They knew him. They knew that if it came down to it, they could beat him. And they were happy he was out there.
Schiraldi promptly loaded the bases in the eighth, and Mets fans began warming to another miracle comeback.
Mazzilli at third, Dykstra at second, Hernandez at first, and one out, 3-0. Oh, this will kill you. Swung on and line to left, right at Rice. Tagging up is Mazzilli to score. It's a brand new ball game.
With the game tied at 3-3, Rick Aguilera went to work for New York at the start of the 10th.
And Henderson at the plate, and Rick Aguilera going to work. And a drive to left. Going back on it is Mookie Wilson, and this one is gone. Henderson has done it again.
The despair in the Mets dugout grew even deeper when the mighty Marty Barrett came to the plate.
And it's hit into center, base hit. Dykstra charging. Here comes Boggs. He will score. And it is 5-3 Red Sox. And what a big run that was.
In the bottom of the 10th, the Mets went quietly at first. And then the Boston locker room was made ready to put 67 years of frustration on ice.
And that's hit to dead center with Henderson going to run it down. And the Mets are down to their last out.
My feeling was that I wasn't going to watch Boston go run around and have fun on our field. So I went into the clubhouse. And
Keith was kicking everything in sight in Davy's office and throwing it around and saying what a brutal ending to a wonderful year and all that.
I can remember, when there was 2 outs, I was thinking, God, this is going to be great. We're going to be jumping all over each other in a second,
When I was on the on-deck circle, I made a vow to myself, and I was not going to make the last out of the game and the series. And I just had a real confidence, and I had a presence there at the plate that I knew I was going to come through in one way or another.
Lined into left field, base hit for Carter, and the Mets are still alive.
About this time, I'm saying, well, there's a chance I may get up. And in all honesty, I was not really looking for that. I did not want that, that pressure on me. But as fate would have it, 3 guys got a hit in front of me.
And that's going to be hit into center field, base hit. Here comes Carter to score, and the tying run is at third in Kevin Mitchell. And the Mets refuse to go quietly. With 2 out, they come scrambling back with consecutive hits by Carter, Mitchell, and Knight. And John McNamara goes to the mound. 5-4 Red Sox, and he's also going to the bullpen.
All I want to do is I don't want to strike out. And it so happens that Bob Stanley threw a wild pitch.
And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base.
Now, at that point, a big relief is on me now. I mean, I can't lose. There's nothing I can do to lose anymore. When I came to the plate, we were losing, and now I'm still at the plate, and all of a sudden we're tied. I can't lose now, no matter what I do. So I just want to make contact.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
The ball goes between Buckner's legs, and all of a sudden I'm a hero, and I didn't do anything.
And I had a long way to run, and my feet weren't feeling too good at that time, and I was kind of bouncing on my heels, I guess, and just lost track of the ball and missed it. But I remember looking back through my legs and seeing the ball back there. But, it was kind of a frustrating feeling, but you learn to accept those things. You make mistakes, you make errors, and it was just a physical error. If it had been a mental error, I would have been a little harder to deal with. But I did my best.
The last-second heroics by the Mets forced an impromptu exodus from the Boston locker room. Cameras and champagne. They'd have been welcomed just across the way, where the men had turned to boys.
When Ray Knight scored, I think you had 4 or 5 guys in there who were acting like 3 or 4-year-olds. We were jumping up and down, hugging each other, going crazy. And I've never felt like that before. It was a great feeling.
If one picture is worth 1,000 words, you have seen about 1,000,000 words.
That was probably the worst feeling I ever had in my life in the game of baseball. We were there, and one little slip, and we lost the game.
Calvin Schiraldi, the former Met, coming in to try and stifle the Mets. Bottom of the 7th inning, it's going to be Knight, Dykstra, and Santana. High drive into deep left center, back goes Rice. This one is gone!
With Series MVP Ray Knight leading the charge, there was no looking back for the Mets. After teasing their fans all year with the promise of greatness, they prevailed when the outlook was the bleakest in one of the greatest championship series ever played. In the 1973 NCAA Finals, Bill Walton and the UCLA Bruins owned the longest winning streak in basketball history and looked for a 7th consecutive national championship.
What a night for UCLA. Holyfield into Walton. He turns.
Walton used the championship game against Memphis State as a personal showcase, hitting 11 of 12 in the first half. Most of his points came off of offensive rebounds or lobs from guard Greg Lee.
Greg Lee looking for Walton inside again for 2. What a game it's been for Bill Walton.
Bill Walton was a competitor, and the tougher the game, the tougher Bill Walton would get. That game he had to score because Larry Keenan, who was guarding him, was the only one guarding him, and they were not doubling down on him. They were saying, Larry Keenan, you got to stop Bill Walton one-on-one. It was a tremendous individual effort. It's one of the greatest I've seen. Game 6 in Philadelphia, where Magic Johnson had his phenomenal game, would compare.
I was just so very fortunate to be at the end result of great basketball. Our team was really rolling at that time. We had a tremendous basketball team and players from top to bottom, and we had played well all year long.
Despite the shootout, the game was close. With 4:14 left in the first half, Walton picked up his third foul and was benched. Memphis State took advantage of his absence to gain a halftime tie. Coach Gene Bartow's Tigers had previously upset Providence in the semifinals and now hope to end college basketball's most glamorous winning streak. But Walton, who had been near perfect in the first half, was dead perfect in the second. Dominating the action under the boards, Walton had 13 rebounds and shot an astonishing 21 of 22 for 44 points.
He made 21 field goals out of 22 attempts, but if I was as tall as he was and got the ball that close, I believe I could have made them. Most of them were that turned the outside and used the board, and then plus that, some of the dunks that he got from high passes that came in there. So I don't think they were all that difficult. I don't want to demean the performance. It was outstanding. It was tremendous.
Even though I had the big statistical numbers and everybody talks about my individual performance, if you look back at the statistics of that game and really the way that game flowed, that was perfect basketball execution.
On this day, Bill Walton symbolized that perfect execution.
It's been the Bill Walton Show here in St. Louis tonight, and there he is. UCLA has done it. They said it couldn't be done. They've won 7 in a row and 9 out of 10.
At game's end, Bill Walton received the Outstanding Player Trophy. It went to a young man who had seized the moment with perhaps the greatest performance in championship history.
Super Bowl MVP, Doug Williams of the Washington Redskins. First black quarterback to start a Super Bowl, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I hope he puts to bed once and for all about the black athlete in professional football.
To reach pro football's summit, Doug Williams traveled a path laden with obstacles. His valiant journey began in 1978 when the Tampa Bay rookie impressed head coach John McKay with his arm strength and the strength of his character.
Of course, I've been a Williams fan all along. I've had to listen to a lot of nonsense. And he realizes where he's going in life. He's not a guy who has 2 or 3 Mercedes, has a big hat, 74 girlfriends. He is intelligent. He knows what he wants to do later on in life, and I admire him for it.
Relax, Dougie. You did a good job. It was nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. He was all right.
Yeah, he just took it too far in, that's all.
The young quarterback helped put an ailing expansion franchise on the road to recovery. But that road often seemed like a collision course. Although Williams' body was bruised and battered, his competitive spirit was never broken, as he led the Bucks to 2 division titles. His arm allowed him to rise to the occasion, even when sitting down on the job. But for Williams, the horizon that held a bright future was soon obscured by storm clouds of controversy. Williams found that as a black quarterback, his every move was analyzed too closely, his every mistake judged too harshly. Although an unpredictable passer, his courageous contributions were vital to the Bucs' success. Yet some fans were blind to Williams' valor because all they could see was his color.
a lot of people are just not ready to accept the fact that a black quarterback is playing in the National Football League. And, you know, it's nothing that you could do anything about, I could do anything about. It's just that a lot of people are just not ready to accept it.
Williams was the target of racist taunts and hate mail more brutal than a punishing pass rush. Williams suffered unbearable pain off the field. His wife died of a brain tumor in 1983, and his world began to crumble.
Well, 83 wasn't a banner year for myself. First of all, I had a daughter who was born on the 14th of January. 3 months later, my wife passed. And from there, you know, it was a rocky road because I went through contract negotiation with Tampa Bay and everything broke down. And that particular point of my life, you know, football really didn't matter to me whether or not I played or not.
But the specter of tragedy that haunted Williams never hampered his desire to reestablish himself. In 1986, he became the Redskin backup after 2 seasons in the USFL. Given a chance to start in 1987, he proved there was still force in his arm and fire in his heart. During the Redskins' quest for an NFC East title and throughout postseason play, Williams was the offensive catalyst that Washington needed.
I've always been ready to play. I never considered myself as a backup. From an emotional standpoint, I was elated to get the opportunity to play.
Here's Moses. He's going to guide us to the Promised Land Super Bowl 22. Yeah.
Doug Williams sets up, blitz, throws it in a hurry. Didier at the 4, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Back is Doug Williams, sets up, plenty of time, going deep over the middle. Got Kelvin Bryant, the 10, the 5, touchdown, Washington Redskins. What a great pass by Doug Williams. Whoa, did he do it all? Motion by Didier. Back is Williams, looking right. Fires it into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Undaunted by the ravages of time, Williams stood on the brink of his championship moment.
I think for me, going to the Super Bowl and getting the opportunity to play is some of the dream that Martin Luther King is talking about. Not so much black and white, but the fact as an individual, as a person, and no matter who you are, what color you are, just get that same opportunity that everybody else gets.
Good afternoon from Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California. The road to Super Bowl 22 stops right here. This afternoon, we're going to play the biggest football game in the history of Western civilization. Or for this year, anyway, the Washington Redskins against the Denver Broncos.
On pro football's biggest stage, Williams endured a harrowing first act. During a frustration-plagued opening period, Washington quickly fell behind 10-0. When Williams' leg crumpled beneath him, his dramatic resurgence appeared to have reached a tragic conclusion. But Doug Williams had overcome greater tragedies than this. He had always persevered despite physical and personal pain. In the past, cruel twists of fate could not defeat him. Now it would take more than a twisted knee to keep him from a date with destiny he so richly earned. After sitting out 2 plays, he turned in a record-setting performance that was swift, stunning, and simply magnificent.
High formation, play action fake. Williams going up top. Got Sanders on the fly at midfield. He's gone unless they can catch him. The 30, the 20, the 15, the 10. Touchdown, Washington Redskins. Williams to pass, lobs it up. He's got Clark at the goal line. He's got it. Touchdown, Washington Redskins. He's got Sanders in the clear at the 10. Touchdown. Williams is back. Lobs it into the end zone. He's got Didier. Touchdown. Holy cow. It's 34 points in this quarter.
Doug Williams' sensational and inspirational moment of triumph demonstrated once and for all that he was indeed a champion. It's an uncommon characteristic he shares with that exclusive fraternity of men. Men who have seized championship moments and made them theirs for eternity.